And so, oh, nice cork
Nice.
sound. That was beautiful. That was
that-
perfect. So the fun part is, and I think this is actually what's going to be a lot of fun tonight, is that I've known you for a while, and I've known you for a while, and I know that you guys are going to hit it off on a lot of topics, but you guys don't know each other. And I think this is going to be really cool to kind of like, I love watching his face when we do this because I'll have on people like Robert, which you know Robert, and he hadn't met him before. So Robert and I were talking, and he would start a story, and he'd be like, "You know about this," and he'd get all excited about it. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
We'll do that with Tyler because Tyler.
Oh yeah,
he'll start
Tyler
talking
surprised
about,
me.
Started talking about Kabbalah, and Israel's like, "How do you know about Kabbalah?" And Tyler has like the whole Kabbalistic tree of life on his arm. You're like, "Oh, I didn't know that's what it was."
And the two of them start nerding out over like emerald tablets and all this other stuff. And I'm like, "What are you guys? How have I not known this about both of you?" So that makes it a lot of fun.
I just pretend to know a lot of stuff. I really don't know anything. So.
Well, neither do we. We
My
don't know
knowledge-
everything.
It's like a vast lake, but it's only an inch deep.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I cover a
Like
lot, but I'm not very deep.
Yeah. I think the point of this is supposed to be when we started this, because I was like, nobody's going to want to listen to this, right? Like, but then he made a good point. He's like, then why do you have people show up at the cigar lounge? And I was like, well, same thing. Like, you know, if I text and be like, hey guys, I'm up there tonight, you'd be like, oh, I'll walk over.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like, because there's a conversation. And if two people want to listen to this in the grand scheme of the internet, there's 100 people, there's 1,000 people. Or there's just the people that are working, like we talked about, working nights or something, that they don't have anybody to hang out with. And these are those just like completely genuine conversations of, like, my wife's like, what do you guys talk about for 4 hours? I'm like, what dudes talk about for 4 hours? Like,
You have to chime in. Get on the Patreon. You'll find out.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not sitting. We're not plotting to take over the world out here. We're like, who would win in a fight? You know, Han Solo or Star Killer. You know, it's like that kind of Star Wars fan fiction. Star Killer.
No, because Star Killers.
No.
No.
See. Okay. All right.
I can't say why. I just take my word for it.
Well, no, Star Killer. And I don't care what you say.
So this is how it
he's
happens.
really
Get wound up. Get each
he's
other
really
wound up.
not canon. Even though you could say, well, he's not canon. He's not real. He's just made up for
Right.
video games. So of course Han Solo would win because one's non-existent. I mean, I guess they're both technically non-existent if you want to be like,
They're both in video games.
yeah,
So
yeah, there you go.
anyway, that's what I'm getting at. Aaron and I have also had like theological discussions. We've had. He's also really big into I don't want to say crafting. Every time I say crafting, then it just makes it sound like you knit, right? like,
Right.
Maybe you do knit, but you run a successful little side business doing, and I
Well,
always
don't
get
know
it
how
wrong.
successful it is, but it is a.
Have you ever sold anything?
I have.
Then
I
you're
have.
successful.
Well, all right. It's an artistic outlet, is what it is. It's just an opportunity for me to really kind of discover what I can do and have that outlet to do something with it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're like me. You're very like, you move a lot. So I'm just gonna slide it
Sorry.
in. No, you're good. I just want to slide it in enough because this is I know what's coming, and I know this is gonna be a great conversation, and I don't want anybody to later be like, I couldn't hear him. So, but please, shameless shout out. I mean, you're on Facebook. You have pictures, and you
Yeah,
you
got a
do
website.
commission work.
I do. So I build industrial fixtures and furnishings. Started the business back in about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And then we only had it going on about a year before we decided to move to Texas. And so then I kind of put the business on hiatus.
I don't think I know where you moved from. I'm just
So
curious.
I was in Phoenix. We lived in Phoenix for 10 years and then came out here. We had some family that lived in southern Oklahoma at the time. It was kind of halfway in between
Yeah.
her family and ours. And so we just started.
I love the joke
some
about like
discovery
why Hillsboro, right? But it's like there's all people like, oh, it's right in the middle, and you know.
Well, Hillsboro is that's a story all in of itself. Like we could just go on and on about Hillsboro, and you what's the word how am I trying to phrase this?
You love it or hate it.
Well, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
is what it is. And without going down the whole religious thing, it was a God thing for us because we had, I don't know, 6 or 8 different little towns that we were looking at. we were in Phoenix for 10 years. Like I said, we had 2 youngsters, and I wanted to raise them. We wanted to raise them in a smaller community and
Sure.
Tighter knit. And so we just kind of started at Waco and just kind of worked our way up through the Metroplex, small little towns around the Metroplex. And because my wife at the time traveled quite a bit, and so we needed to be close to an airport. So we just kind of drew a hour circle around the Metroplex. And just kind of,
That's one of my favorite things about being here is that we're like an hour from everything.
yeah.
But at the same time,
Well, there's
we're
so
an
many
hour
things, though,
from
right?
everything.
Because for us, it was like, this was the second place we came to, but it was just the people that kept bringing us back. Yeah, the town square is really cool, and there's a lot of character about the town itself. And
Decent bartender. You know.
yeah, well, I mean, even back then, we didn't really have a lot of that stuff
Right.
was really
No,
even
there was nothing.
established yet. I
No.
mean, downtown was really kind of dead. I mean, it's really livened up in the last
Yeah.
6-7 years.
Yeah.
But it was the people. It was the people that kept bringing us back because we would just meet these perfect strangers that were like, "Hey, if you need anything."
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we've got
a
all these
weird
people.
community here. 'Cause
Yeah.
We are a small community, but it's not the like small town country. It's different. There's
It is.
it's a weird eclectic group
Well,
here.
it's got its own thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to explain unless you come here, and it's interesting because we've met so many people who have moved here from, good grief, all over the place.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah. Ann and Robert, or Ann's from
Yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Joe moves here from San Diego. You're here from Phoenix. I mean, there's.
Right.
Well, you and I are about. Jones and I think we're the only 2 like natural born people we've had on here yet.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Tyler. Tyler's from here too, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
So anyway, it was.
Well, what's the wait? You
Oh,
said
yeah,
like
sorry, no.
what's the name of your?
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say,
I'm
what's
sorry.
your Facebook for your?
It's really cool, and I always say it's steampunk, but is that offensive? Is it steampunk or is it
It's-
steampunk esque?
Sure, you can say that.
Sorry, wait. Pull it in. Type
It's
it in.
called a fitting contraption.
It's really cool. If you go to the lounge, a couple of the lamps and things
Yep.
that are there, he's
Yeah,
made.
I've got some
It's
pieces
like
up there that I've built.
copper and brass
Brass
fittings
and
and
steel.
home decor.
Yeah,
well, you made your ring, right?
I made this ring.
You made a ring.
Yeah.
You made a cigar holder out of copper. You just
Wow,
very
that's cool
eclectic.
stuff, man.
Oh, the guitar holder. That was
Yeah,
cool.
the guitar stand.
Yeah, stand holder. You can tell I don't play guitar.
Yeah, it holds the guitar.
I have an acoustic guitar because I think it makes me look cool.
Yeah,
I can't
absolutely.
play anything. It just
No,
sits in
I
my
mean,
room.
that's-
So a fitting contraption on Facebook.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you got some cool stuff there.
And
very
you do
nice.
and you do like commission stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like if somebody
absolutely.
calls and
It's
says,
that-
"I want a cool lamp."
Right, and really, from an artistic standpoint, most artists want those one-offs, right? They don't want to
Right.
be making the widget over and over and over again, right? Because it kind of stifles the.
If you want that, you can go to
creativity.
IKEA.
So I tend to, but that doesn't pay the bills always, right?
Right.
You don't always get those big commissions. It's like, hey, I want you to come in here and do the whole, my whole establishment here or whatever. So you have
I know
to,
a guy that's opening a distillery that literally needs
yeah,
light pieces. So you should
Hey,
hit up
hook me
Phil.
up. Yeah.
Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah. and
Yeah. Oh
we'll-
yeah.
Yeah.
they're
Have you
over
talked to him
there.
yet? To do-
I not officially. No.
Okay, you need to because
introduce myself. To
because he was like, "Yeah, I want to do something cool," and I was like, "You need to do something local." He's like, "Well, it's hard to find people around here." He's like, "No, it's not. They're here. You just need to like find it local." That's why he wants to work with me to do the brewing thing because he's like, "I can work with anybody," but he's like, "If you know people, like you said,
Well,
if
and
you know,
so-
you know." There's a
so
natural
that's the
group.
whole thing, right? Is this little town? There's a lot of people who are kind of in the same kind of mindset of things. When Colton and Joe
Yeah,
did
yeah.
that whole thing, and then you just had all these people who kind of like-minded wanted to do that kind of when the pubs were here. It was
Yeah.
this community space that brought people in.
I always think it's really weird for me because like people ask about the cigar lounge, which the pub, the cigar lounge, same place, right, but different environment. And everybody always talks about like, oh, is that kind of like white collar versus like blue collar? And I told them, I'm like, no, it's actually really weird because it's like there's not a lot of. I would have thought if somebody said they were opening a cigar and bourbon lounge, I would have thought, oh, that's the doctors, the lawyers, the judges, like the well-to-dos, whatever you want to call it. But honestly, it's a little. I mean, there's a few It's so eclectic. I think that's what makes it work in a small town. If it was in a big city, then there would be five, and it'd be like, oh, this is where all the blue collar guys go and all that. But it kind of has to be its own mashup.
Yeah. Well, I think the cigar lounge, just cigars in general, is kind of a melting pot for a lot of different classes of people, if you will, because you don't have to know what the other person is doing for a living to carry on a conversation. You come.
now
there,
have
the
that thing.
hub is the cigar, right? It's the
The
what
link.
everybody is there. Yeah, it's the link.
I like that.
And so I think that's why it works in general. It's probably why it works here as well, just because it's smaller, so you have kind of a sampler of a lot of that, right? Of
Yeah, that's
just
true.
different people in different places
And
in
there's
their life.
people
but-
that want to get out more often, so they can go there more often. There's also people like there's some of us that they show up like once a month, and it's like, oh no, I'm just here to make my little appearance, and
yeah,
out they
yeah,
go. You'll see them next month.
right? Or you'll just get people off the highway who are just like Googling
Yeah.
something like, oh, there's a cigar lounge, let's go check it out.
Yeah, that's true.
So I mean, you get a whole plethora of different people.
And like you said,
Coming in
having the owners being who they are, like I know you have some of your artwork in there. There's I do not remember the painter's name, the photographer. I'm sorry,
Oh, Kent.
Kent. Thank you. And he's got some of his prints in there, and I love that they're like yeah, we don't care. Like I mean I say they don't care. I don't think they have like a commission or anything. They're just like put stuff on the walls. Like this is really cool because it's local people. I see you brought some with you. Our like local well whiskey, right? It's a TX that you brought. That's our well whiskey at the little lounge because that's made from bourbon here in Hill County.
Well, and that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is like there's so many people kind of in these industries that
They
live in
yeah,
work
it's
here
it's
in Hillsborough,
weird.
and you're just like,
Who in Hill County makes bourbon?
No. Okay, so you want to tell them a story? You probably tell the story better than me.
I'll tell you my part of it. Sawyer Farms.
Across the street from where I grew up as a kid.
They
Okay.
make the ingredients. They grow the ingredients for TX whiskey, and sell it to them. So, and then I believe they also sell to other.
I think
Not
so.
sure.
They used to have an exclusive contract, I think. But like John Sawyer was the farmer, like across the highway as a kid, like our measly little chicken farm with a couple acres of like hay and stuff. And then you look across the road and it's like field of glory, right? I mean, it's like wheat for days. And and always ever since I was a kid, like one of the nicest guys. I think he drove by one time. We were out like shooting clay pigeons as kids, and he pulled up in his truck, rolled the window down, and we're so used to people like yelling like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're scaring my cows." I've told you that story before, right? And he pulled up. He's like, "Hey, if y'all ever want to, I got a 1,000-yard range over at my place. I got steel targets and blah blah. I got spotting scopes. Heck, you don't even just bring your rifles. I got ammo." He's always been like that, and now as an adult, like every time he sees me, he's like, "Oh, hey, Izzy, how you doing?" Comes up, but they make all the grain, then they send it to Fort Worth where they actually like malt it and everything. Then they just it's raw ingredients.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the connection to Hill County that it has, which is
Well, very cool. I didn't know that.
yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of funny because as close as we are to Waco, everybody thinks that we're all going to be like Balcones,
Yeah.
fanboys, and nothing wrong with them. It's
all
just
right.
it's okay, but it's like nah, this is Hill County. Like we're gonna, which is cool because it's nice to be known for something other than cotton because it's like that. I didn't know that Hill County was the largest cotton producing county in Texas.
But they used to have the Cotton Festival. until it
Absolutely.
was-
Well, you had
Yeah.
the cotton exchange. I mean, that's
Yep.
where everybody
Yeah.
brought their cotton here, and you
Yeah.
had like 5 railways that went out of here that spread all over Texas.
That's why the MKT line, the old Missouri, Kansas, Texas line, came through Hillsboro. And so, oh, nice cork
Nice.
sound. That was beautiful. That was perfect.
What a lot of people don't think about, especially now when they're like, "Well, why did you move to Hillsborough? Why did you move to like insert small town here?" We have become more decentralized as time went by, and so if you look at these small podunk towns and they don't have anything, but they have this old downtown that's completely empty. There used to be stuff downtown. Grandview, the town there used to be a movie theater.
Because
There
35
used-
didn't used to be there. So the
It
only way to
did, yeah.
get from Dallas to Hillsboro was to go through Grandview.
Yeah, I
Or
mean
Fort Worth,
Elvis
I
went
guess.
to one time on the way to
Yeah. Basic training.
Fort Hood.
Yeah.
When he did, well, I think he went to do a concert or something.
Oh, really?
Theodore Roosevelt.
He was arrested in Hillsborough once.
Oh, really? But
Spent
Teddy
a-
Roosevelt came to Grandview on a train.
I didn't know that.
I think it was Teddy Roosevelt. But anyway, so my point is like these small towns, sure, I mean they're always small, but there was entertainment.
Yeah.
Whitney used to have an opera house. There was a legitimate opera house in Whitney, Texas at one point.
I mean, Hillsborough has the old theater downtown that's been vacant forever, but
Hillsborough-
it was a big
Well,
spot.
the third story of the business supply had an opera house.
Oh, that's
Oh, it's cool. I
that's
didn't know
right. That was the one I was thinking of when you said Whitney,
Well, I
but
think
no,
the
that was here.
Majestic, which used to be the old Milano's, was an opera house upstairs too. We thought it was a theater
cool.
at first, but someone told me that it was an opera house.
There also used to be I can't remember the specific name. It was like an intermunicipal rail system
Yeah,
that was in
Yes.
Hillsborough. So like even if Hillsborough didn't have it, you could hop on the passenger
It went to downtown Fort Worth.
to downtown Fort Worth. You can go to Waco. You can go like all these towns.
There is a
get on
Facebook
it.
page I will send you later that has tons of old black and white photos, and one of them was right on Waco Street, right where Grimes Garage is, right,
Yeah.
which is Texas Through Time now. We had Andre on. We were talking about that. It's the streetcar. The courthouse is there, and the old streetcar, and I'm like, I'm thinking how fast the streetcar goes, right? Because it's not quick, and I'm like, that would be a long trip to Fort Worth. I mean, that's like
faster than a horse though.
it's faster
Yeah.
than a horse, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I take for granted now, like my wife and I are like, let's go have dinner, right? We hop in the car and we're there in like 30 minutes, right? And I was like, that would be a long.
Yeah, that took a long time.
Well, if those had stayed updated with
Yeah.
times, like
Oh,
we had a
how
system
cool
like
would
that,
it be?
it'd be, like, would you even need a driver's license for a lot of these things? Like
No.
you could just hop on the intermunicipal or whatever and go to
Yeah.
the town, and I mean you might still need something to get from somewhere once you're there. But if you look at like a lot of countries now that are developed, they have people
yeah.
don't have cars; they just take a train. And
I
then
wonder why Texas got away from that though. Because I
the
mean,
states
lots of
got away from that.
well, that's true. Well, not all states, because like big urban centers and cities, they still have trams and they still have elevated lines and subways and bus transportation. I mean, I think like what Dallas has the DART rail system, because I know when I back in the day when I lived in Cedar Hill and I worked in Dallas, I was always like, oh, I could. It was like 10 miles from my house, I could park and then I could ride the DART rail. But I was also like, oh man, I don't want to have to do all that. Like, I just want to get in my car and pull up to the office.
Well, there was talks about making a what's the type? It's a bullet train from like DFW to
Oh, that
Houston.
like high speed, yeah.
And
Nothing ever happened with that.
I think it got approved. I don't know where it's at right now, but I sincerely hope we get something like that because I hate. First of all, if I'm being honest, I'm sorry. I hate Houston. I
do
hate
too.
driving in Houston. I hate driving to Houston because once you get to the coast, it's like a desolate hellscape of just
Sorry, is my ice cubes going to be a problem, or my glasses?
glass, not my ice. Cube,
I
your
can.
glass.
Do you need me to get some bigger
Nope,
glasses?
it will melt and it'll drop down perfect.
Okay, all right. I was like, I can. I have bigger
Watch-
glasses. I didn't think about it.
Watch the amazing.
Look at that.
But yeah,
He is like within our group of bourbon enthusiasts. This is the man. So we didn't actually say this. What he's making us tonight, he is known for his old fashions,
okay.
which by technical definition, there's actually two old fashions. There's the original from like the 1940s.
Well, if you get on YouTube, there's a whole lot more.
Well, yeah. You've got like the old fashioned, which was in the 40s, and they so if you ever go somewhere, because I got this wrong, I came back to the lounge one day and I was like, oh my god, I had this terrible old fashioned. I don't know what this lady was thinking, and Joe was like, well, Colton was like, what'd they do? And I was like, gosh, she took the whole wedge of the orange, threw it in the glass, and started smashing it up. It had like
Muddled it up.
pulp in it, and he goes, well, yeah, that's an old fashioned. I was like, bro, that's not an old fashioned. I'm a bartender, and he goes, no, you know the like 60s old fashioned, which doesn't have the actual orange wedge. It just has the little peel.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. But he makes what I classify as my traditional old fashioned, and it's one of the best.
With a few embellishments.
Well, sure.
Creative license.
And he makes his own cherry. Now these, I see you brought some. These
I am out
are
of cherries right now.
fantastic.
It is-
Yeah, didn't we open those up the other day with another guest, or did you have some? We opened some of those
I
up.
had a couple because you gave me He gave me the cutest little mason jar. This thing was like this big, and it had like it was like 5 or 6 cherries in it.
Somebody, and I thought it was you. You're like, yeah, I got this at Sam's, and I always pass it up because it doesn't look like it'd be good. Am I just imagining this, or was this another
don't
conversation I
remember
had with
this.
somebody else?
Maybe. Wait. I bet it was probably something you had a conversation with like Brandon on,
Maybe
because
he had some of those.
yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
And I think these are the
They
ones.
look familiar, and I was like, oh, I thought I talked to you about that.
These are like the gold standard.
Yeah.
When you go places and they pull out the like bright red maraschino cherries,
Throw it away.
just walk away. I mean, it's fine, but you're
It's
not.
not a cherry, first of all.
You're not. Yeah. It's what is it really?
Well, they have
How
to
do they make
bleach
it translucent?
And then they have to add color. So that is a fake color. They bleach them white in the process.
That's
So then it's just
delicious.
sugar.
Oh.
So really, it's a shell of a cherry, and then it's all artificial. All the flavoring that's in there. There's nothing.
So
Turn him up just a touch while he's because no, you're
Yeah,
good. I
sorry.
know. No, it's okay.
which one is he?
He should be the blue.
So I'm looking forward to this because old fashions are usually my go-to.
Well,
Oh, you're gonna
so
love this.
I did a lot of study on this, and I kind of picked and chose the different recipes. Sorry.
No, you're
the
good, you're
different
good.
Recipes to my liking, and the reason why I'm stirring it for so long is because I want to transfer that cold to the outside of the glass, so that when you pick it up, the glass itself is cold. So the whole drink will be cold, and not just the last sip or 3 sips into it. So it's kind of makes it
And
consistent.
even just the using of the large ice cube, I think a lot of people misunderstand this. Like, obviously, when you saw him making it, there's like this much alcohol, and then you put it in the ice cube, and it looks like your drink is full. And everybody that goes to I say swanky bar, but they go to a swanky bar and they think that people do that to make your drink look fuller. But there's a science behind it. By having a large block of ice, you get all of the like cold properties, but because of the surface area, it melts slower. So you get
It doesn't dilute the drink over the
Exactly.
over the time of drinking it until you get to the end, and then it kind of mellows out. So this whole process when you drink this it's multifaceted. It's not going to taste the same from start to finish. It's going to mellow out as you drink it. It's going to dilute at the end. I use granulated sugar. Some people use
I
simple
agree. I think it's the
syrup.
best way to go.
It's more of a texture thing than it is a sweetness thing for me. Also,
I actually think that the other one is too sweet. The simple syrup to me is just
because
too
it's
sweet.
all in there.
Yeah.
At the end, you're going to have a little bit of granulated sugar down there. So
The
even
last
though it
sip's a little sweet too.
even though
It's-
it
oh,
looks
it's
like
good.
you're putting a lot of sugar in there, you're not going to drink all of that sugar. It's really more just for the texture of it, and it will kind of sweeten up a little bit more as you drink it. So it's like I said, it's a process. This whole it's a whole experience. This cocktail.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the video. It's like an alchemist at work over there. Like he's got
Oh, yeah.
them, like
Yeah.
all lined up.
We did a drink competition one night for the bourbon group, and I showed up and I thought I was like, oh, I know what I'm a bartender. I got this. I lost to Aaron, and I want you to know, rightfully so, because I took a sip and I was like, damn, dude, like this. Like, I told him I was like, no, this is good. I brought like a fresh juicer, and I made like my own like fresh apple juice right then for the drink, and it was a good drink. All right, I made a good drink, but I told him I was like, he's right. It's not just the drink; it's also the showmanship of it. It's also the whole presentation of it. That's what, to me, that's what makes a cocktail. I told my wife, I don't like to drink a lot when we go out, because I know the cost of it always gets me. I'm like, I don't want to spend $20 to drink $20 a drink to drink a bunch. I'll drink at home. But when I go out, I don't want to spend $3 for a Bud Light, right? Like, if I'm going to go out, I want to spend the money and I want to have something really good because I want the experience. Same thing. Like, if I'm smoking at my house, I'm not smoking nearly as nice of a cigar as when I'm at the lounge, because that's where I want to experience it and be around other people.
Yeah.
Aaron also likes pipe tobacco, which
Oh,
is
cool.
nice, because I used to smoke a pipe a lot, and I did not realize that is a diminishing skill. I thought I would just like pick a pipe back up and be like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I
it's-
remember this.
It definitely has a learning curve to it.
Yeah, it was not fun. I sat outside and I was fighting it for like 20 minutes. And I'm
So,
like, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
I just need to interject here for a second.
Yes, please.
Some of your viewers may think this is sacrilege that I'm adding lemon to this because this is not part of the original recipe.
Well,
The
that's because they
cherry
can't
and the
taste how
lemon-
good it is.
The cherry and the lemon were kind of added later on. It wasn't really part of the original cocktail when it was first made. But what I like about the lemon is that it really brightens it up. Yeah, you get some citrus from the orange, of course, but then when you put orange and lemon together, it's a more complex citrus, and it just kind of brightens it up a little bit more. So it's really more for the aromatics than it is the flavor, although you will get some of that because I spritz the oil on there, so you'll get some of that, but mostly through the nose as opposed to the palate.
While he's adding the cherries, I do want to point out so this is like the gold standard, right? Angostura bitters, which is just like, and it's also, you use both. We've got classic aromatic and orange, right? A lot of people just buy the orange bitters. I agree. It needs both. That's really what makes it. But there's a fun story, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, about the labels. Have you ever heard this?
Yep, I've heard this story of the
Okay,
label.
so this is famous within the bar world, and if anybody's ever seen this, they're probably like, what is up with the label that's like,
Doesn't even fit.
it doesn't fit, right? So this is my favorite story. These two brothers invented this, and they wanted to go into a competition, and they were running short of time. So the one brother bought the bottles, and the other brother bought the labels. And apparently somebody got their math wrong. So when they got these things in, they slapped the labels on. They're like, oh my God, we have the wrong size labels. And they're like, well, it's too late now. Just put it in the competition. And they lost. They lost the competition. But the judge came up to him and he goes, hey guys, I know you lost, but you're really onto something with this label. And he's like, the guy was like, what are you talking about? We goofed the label. He's like, no. That's all we could talk about. Even though the other guy won, all the judges were like, man, this is so goofy with the label. And so if you go to like Angostura, like Google them online, you can go find like old black and white photos of them like in a factory with like thousands of bottles and all the labels are the wrong size. To this day, they still tell people, we lost the competition. There was a better product and they went out of business. And it's like, this has been their like mainstay ever since, as a traditional nod to the like, sometimes happy little accidents can be the best thing ever. So I love that story about it. I'm like, I just know that how many times does that happen with the podcast that I've like, oh yeah, I bought something. It's not really perfect, but it will make it work. Who knows? You know, like that's our thing.
Goes back to just do it.
Just do
All
it.
right, so there's a way that I do this. Obviously, you can do it any way you want, but I first smell it first,
Okay.
and then I just take enough to just like coat the mouth or coat the tongue.
Okay.
Okay, and then you just kind of savor it there for a second,
Okay.
and then
Can
swallow.
I add one thing?
Sure.
We like to get a nice little cheers whenever
Absolutely.
we drink. So do you want to do
We
that?
didn't do that last episode.
I know we forgot to. Yeah. Well, the one with my daughter, I think we intentionally skipped the cheersing of alcohol.
We didn't skip it. We just didn't do it. Just to be clear.
We skipped the drinking portion of the podcast. Cheers, yeah. So let's get the cheers first, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Thank you for supplying
Yes.
something to drink
Nice.
this evening. All right, so I love the smell of that.
Yeah.
You really do get the lemon. I'm telling you, man. And when you sip it, you can get the bitters. The bourbon is there, and I love like people think. First time I tried this, I was like, oh, probably would have used a stronger bourbon, but it's all there. It's just balanced so well.
And this isn't bourbon. This is a blended.
that's true.
because I didn't know what everybody's palate's like, so I wanted to get something a little milder because some people,
That is so good.
Bourbon's a little harsh for their palate or whatever. So I was just like, well,
Well, and I've
let's
gone
make
some
this-
places. Some places will use rye, which
Sure,
is
absolutely.
even more spicy,
Yeah.
or which is a bourbon, but it's a rye bourbon. I've had this with. I've actually had a old fashioned with. It wasn't Jameson, but it was an Irish whiskey, and they changed up. They didn't use a cherry; they used ginger and a couple other things, and it really worked. There's so many styles, like you
Right,
said. It's
yeah.
very eclectic.
It's kind of like anything else that has a long history of things like beer making. You know, you start off with 4 ingredients, really.
Right.
But like, how many different ways can you put those 4 ingredients together and get a completely different product? Right?
Yeah.
So, cocktails, I think in general, and I am by no means an expert on this, but my understanding as I'm kind of going down this field of research is that a lot of you have these staples, and then it's like your signature to that thing.
Go ahead and
right?
pull it in for you. Now that you're done. Now that you're
Yeah,
done.
Now that I'm done,
You're
making
done with your
stuff.
alchemy over
Yeah,
here.
right.
So,
This is
like,
really
where did you first? Because I do want to touch on this. He won't give up his secret recipe, and I don't want you to. But where did you get the idea? Because the cherries are kind of the mainstay of this cocktail, but others as well. And it's for people that don't know. This, like we said, it's kind of hard to see in the picture here, but it's a very, very dark burgundy color cocktail cherry,
Yeah.
which is the mainstay of this drink, but it's not a maraschino bright red like on a Sunday cherry.
Right.
And I know it, I'm not asking for the recipe, but I know it has like lots of like cinnamon and it's like star anise and like all these really
has a lot
rich
of-
flavors.
Yeah. So for my recipe, I use quite a few different spices.
Yeah.
And that is still kind of in the works. Every time I make them,
They come out a little
experimenting.
different, too, I'm sure,
because
yeah.
I'm constantly changing. Like I liked that. I didn't like this.
What you need?
Can you slide the bottle over here so I can take a picture?
Oh, of the whiskey? Yeah.
Yep.
And so it's like everything that I do, I'm constantly like
Yeah.
messing with it.
I cook a lot, and my wife teases me because I never have the same recipe. So every time I make it, she always says it always comes out good, but it's always a little different. You know, like
yeah.
how many chilies I felt like putting in that day, or just the fact that sometimes the chilies are a little hotter, or like when I blended it up, it just didn't come out the same, or
Well, one thing that I have learned to do is write down all of my recipes because those happy little accidents, right? Like Bob Ross says.
I love that that's a part of our generation too. Like,
yeah. I mean, there's so many times in my life, this is where age, you start learning things over time is, just start writing things down instead, because you'll do something, you won't follow a recipe, or maybe you sort of follow a recipe and then
it's kind of like your mood. It's like your mood at that time too.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's,
Well, and your growth, as
Yeah.
you're going through this, you understand the chemistry of foods and things like that, and what works with other ingredients. And
my oldest son, Ethan, I started buying Hello Fresh meals, right, delivered to the house. 2 reasons. 1, Hillsboro, not exactly known for our produce. 2, I'm very adventurous when it comes to food. I am a foodie. I know I've talked to you about this. And we had Robert on. We went off on a tangent about birria last time, which
Yeah.
was
Then we went and got some.
Then we went and got some. And was it not good?
It was good. It was very good.
So, like, I'm a foodie and I love to try stuff. Anything from Asian food to Indian food, spicy food, sushi, whatever. My wife is not very adventurous with food. So I feel like over the last couple of years of being married, I've kind of become not less adventurous. It's just I don't branch out as much. So I wanted to get some HelloFresh meals to kind of, one, save a little bit of money so we can, I'm also trying to lose some weight. So I'm like, if we get some portioned meals, instead of making a giant batch of pasta that we eat too much of, let's make something more sensible. But the best part about this is how much fun Ethan has had with cooking. And he's always wanted to help me in the kitchen. And of course, I do probably 90% of the cooking. My wife can cook. She's not a bad cook. I just enjoy it. I really like it. And she's always like, she'll send me a recipe. She's like, oh, this looks good. Can you make this? I'm like, yeah, sure. It's fun. But he has been like on a tangent lately. And I know you homeschool, which I was homeschooled my entire life. To me, that was a big part of like my education was like learning how to bake, learning how to cook, learning how to do all of that. I can get in the fridge and just start grabbing stuff and throw together dinner. Like, that's not necessarily a very like man thing by today's standard, but like I think more and more there are more and more men that are cooking in general, and I love that he's shown an interest with it. Like tonight, he's cooking them some Southwest chicken carnita bowls from from a little thing. And the best thing about it, Ethan is my pickiest child, right? Ever since I've started buying these HelloFresh meals, he has gotten less picky. And I think it's because he's a very texture eater. Like if he has something he doesn't like, it usually comes back, right? But because he knows what's in it and he did it, I think he's actually becoming more adventurous with foods because he understands it. Plus, he's having so much. He's like, no, we got to plate it just right. And he like does the sauce on the plate.
wow.
Yeah, he's like really getting into it. I told my wife, I'm like, this is the best thing ever because in today's economy, trying to save money, it would be expensive to like send him to cooking classes or something, or even taekwondo or horse riding or whatever he wanted to get into would cost money. But I'm like, we already got to buy groceries anyway. This is actually saving us a little bit of money because I bought meals for dinner for all 5 of us in the house for an entire week. It was $100 delivered to my house in a box, and I was like, that's not bad. I'm like, okay, $100. That's $20 a meal. I can't go to Walmart and buy the ingredients for dinner for $20, and it's like fun stuff because we did. There was the carnita bowls, and we did some. They sent us like some burgers, and you can kind of pick and stuff. So now he's getting into it because he's like, "Can we look in the app? Let's pick out something." Now my wife's getting scared because he's all like, "Let's try salmon." And my wife, bless her heart, I don't know what it is. She hates fish.
You won't do sushi?
I am so shocked that I got a second date. Okay. Have I ever told you the story about my wife and I's first date?
Possibly after like 3 hours of a podcast.
Yeah, probably. Okay. Have you ever heard this?
Remember?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So I was a fireman here in town. My wife was, she had just moved back here living with her grandparents and was working at Starbucks. As all firemen, we're caffeine addicts. Sure. And we got free coffee at Starbucks. So marriage made in heaven, right? So we started going to Starbucks all the time, and I'm very friendly towards everybody, as you know. My partner on the ambulance, we went in for coffee one day. It was her first day, and bantered, like just said hello, just to be friendly. She's like, "No, you were hitting on me." I'm like, if that's hitting on you, then I hit on everybody, right? Like both sexes, it doesn't matter. I'm friendly to everybody. I know the people by first name at the Walmart checkout lines, right? I know the lady at the McDonald's drive-through window. She's like the sweetest person. Anyway, so I'm like, oh, hi, whatever. Then the next morning, my partner goes, "Hey, let's go get some more coffee." I was like, "Yeah?" He's like, "Yeah," because we worked 48-hour shifts. So the next day, he's like, "Let's go get more coffee." Apparently, he knew she was working again. He's really the one that kind of teed this up, right? So we go back in there, get coffee. We end up going on a date. And,
you and your partner?
No. Me and my
Oh,
wife,
gotcha.
my wife, Haley. And I hadn't dated in a very long time. So I was married once before, got divorced, had custody of my 3 kids, and I had no idea. I don't know how to date. I hadn't dated in like 10 years. I don't know what's going on, right? So I was like, "Hey, let's go out to dinner. Like it'd be fun. Or go out to lunch." I said lunch because I was scared of dinner. I really was, right? I didn't know what to.
Let's
I'm like,
ease into this a little bit.
yeah, right.
Let's do a brunch first and move our way up.
My buddy, I'm just gonna say Weber. He's my partner, but Weber was like, he's like, "Dude, what's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I can't do dinner." I'm like, "What happens after dinner?" He's like, "You drop her off at her house like a gentleman." And I was like, "Dude, I'm scared." I was like, I don't know what to do. So like, we'll do lunch. There's no commitment to lunch. Like this is great. I had a great time. See you tomorrow, kind of thing. So I was like, "Where do you want to go?" She's like, "Oh, whatever you pick." I'm like, "Oh, pressure, right?" So I picked something that I liked. I took her to Burleson to go to Sushi Accent for lunch. And I'm like, "Oh, this is nice. It's light, but it's, she doesn't have to order a salad to make amends, and I don't have to, whatever." So we go in there, and I order. She's like, "Oh, you order," which I didn't take as a red flag. I took as like, "Oh, I like this." She's like, letting me take the lead here. I felt like a man. This is nice. So I order a couple of my favorite things. I sit it down. She's drinking her water. And I was like, "Oh, please," because we're just talking. And I was like, "No, please, you go first." She picks a sushi up. She puts it in, and she starts. Starts making this face, and I was like, "Yeah, I really like this one," and I'm dipping it. And then after a little while, I can see like the eyes are watering, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she starts like dry heaving at the table, and I'm like, "Are you okay? Are you choking? Like, what's the matter?" She like spits it out in her napkin, and she's like, "I hate sushi. I hate fish." And I'm like, "Oh God." And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, "Well, there it goes." Like,
And now I hate you.
so I did the only smart thing I could possibly do. I literally, it was like the most, like, in my mind, the safest bet. I was like, check, please. Guy came over and he's like, is everything okay? I'm like, nah, we're not just not feeling it, man. It's cool. He's like, you want to-go boxes? I'm like, no, we're good. I really appreciate it. Like, because she was like having issues, right?
Yeah.
So then we went next door and had fireman subs for lunch. And she's over like, this is great.
Probably driving up, she thought, well, he's a fireman. We're probably going to fireman stuff. This will be okay.
And it's great because now, many, many years later, she loves it when I take her out for sushi.
Really?
Shall we eat it now?
She'll eat it now. She's picky. You know, there's a couple things she does or doesn't like. She's like, I can't do the raw, like sashimi. She's like, I'm not there yet. But she'll do like crab rolls and spicy salmon rolls and stuff like that. I'm like, this is cool, but it's a fun joke now. Like every time we go to get sushi or whatever, she's like, she's slowly getting more adventurous with foods, but we'll see. But now, like when we go on cruises, she's a foodie. I mean, she's like, which is great. That's why my favorite vacation is a cruise, because I tell her, order whatever you want, and if you hate it, it's fine. Just order something else. You know, like, there's no pressure.
It's all inclusive, right?
It's all inclusive.
It's like, hey, if you don't like it, throw it away. I can pay for it.
Yeah, because if you go out to dinner and you spend like $30 on something, you know, 20, $30, that's an okay meal, right? You know, it's not like high class.
Used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People the other day were like, oh, I wish Bennigan's was still around. I'm like, I don't. It'd be $40 to go to Bennigan's nowadays. Like, you know. But yeah, that's my. Yeah, I'll stop my story there. But yeah, that's us. That was our first date. I can't believe I got a second, and obviously there was more after that. And now we're married.